So let's get into user and group accounts. So basically, what we're going to learn in this module is about users, configure user accounts and their properties, how to create new users, how to create bulk operations, manage those user accounts, all of that. So first, create and manage user accounts. So Microsoft Entra ID supports three types of user accounts. So basically, who are the users? Microsoft Azure portal पे हम सारे users ही है ना, जिनके भी accounts है. We are the users, right? Whoever has an account with Azure portal, they are the users of Microsoft, and we have a user account basically.
Everyone basically who wants to use Azure services, he will need an
Yes,
user account. Even if he
correct.
is from the development team, production team, or any team, it doesn't matter. So we will give him authorities as per the requirement. I mean, we
Right.
can assign him our back policies.
Right, Gautam. So basically, there are three types of user accounts that is based on the roles that we assign them. First is the cloud, on premises, and internal and external users. Cloud is basically when we create the users on the portal. And on premises is when we have created already users in our on premises Windows Server Active Directory. And internal, external are guest users. Okay. Then comes what all you need to consider when you are choosing what type of user account you want to create. So, as I told, there are three types: cloud identity, directory synchronized identity, and guest users. Okay, so if you're working in an organization and they're creating your email address on their server, so first thing, they're creating it on their cloud. If they're using Azure, they're creating on their Azure account. The administrator would do this. So that's basically a cloud identity that is being managed by your organization. Directory synchronized identity is basically for on-premises Active Directories. Or anyone knows there is a tool which you connect the on-premises to our Azure cloud, basically the directories. There's a tool. Can anybody name that tool? Anybody? There's basically a tool or a service that Azure specifically provides, which can help us to connect our on-premises Active Directory, synchronize basically. I've already used a word connect. Anybody can?
Is it Microsoft Intraconnect?
Yes, that's Microsoft Intraconnect. So that's a service that Microsoft provides for users who are for organizations who are migrating their Windows Active Directory to Azure Entra ID. That's a service which we can help synchronize our users. Guest user, anyone?
Someone is a guest, like हम अपने किसी गेस्ट को अपना कोई प्रोजेक्ट दिखाना चाहते हैं, या मतलब बहुत सारे तरीके से गेस्ट हो सकते हैं. जैसे किसी को बहुत थोड़े टाइम के लिए Azure यूज करवाना है, हम उनके लिए भी गेस्ट अकाउंट बना सकते हैं. These kind.
Right. So guest users are basically when you're in that organization or for like a tenant, you have on a contractual basis you are using their account for any purposes. So you give them a span, a time span of only which he will be able to access your directories. You invite that guest user, so you'll be creating an external user account. Next is things to consider when managing cloud identities. What all we need to consider while creating a user? any inputs. Basically, to create a user, we only just create a user, assigning him the roles and all of that. But that user will have to, manage his profile, and all of that. So we have to give him permissions, how to where this profile data is going to consider restore options for delete accounts and consider gathered account data. In bulk users, basically, just by the word, can anybody say what can be bulk user accounts? In an organization, you basically, there's a batch coming in, there's a training batch coming in of 20 people. So, will you sit and create 20 user accounts, or can you create all the 20 user accounts by adding all the details in one go? Can we do that? To minimize our work, we can use bulk user accounts basically. So we can use bulk user accounts for, basically, this is administrator work. He basically uses a CSV, that's called a comma separated values. That's a file which we need to download. I'll show you the demonstration later on. We can create multiple users at a time. So this is what it says on the PPT. To complete the bulk create or delete operations, the admin fills out a comma separated values. It's a template which you will get on the portal itself. You're supposed to just download the template, fill in the details, and upload it back. And bulk operation templates can be, like I told, download from the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. Things to consider when creating user accounts. Basically, mainly, if you are creating 20 profiles, in those two or three can be of same names. Two, three people, users can have the same name. So we need to have a naming convention. There's an alias specific section also in the portal. So to differentiate between the two accounts, you can add those. Consider using initial passwords. First, when you're creating multiple accounts, there will be an auto-generated password. So later on, you need to give them a feature to, reset the password. And we can implement many strategies to minimize our errors. When you're creating multiple accounts, it's created in a bulk, so the chances of having errors can be high. So there are few strategies that you need to implement, not to have duplicate accounts. Next, we'll move on to how to create group accounts. So, there are two types of group accounts basically, that is security group and Microsoft 365 group. So, basically, security group are used to manage members and computer access to shared resources. If we have a resource group, we can, if you add the security rule, basically like a policy, you can say. We've already learned policies, basically like a policy to the group users. So there are two different groups. If you need to create those set of policies for security, you can create security groups. And there is Microsoft 365 groups, which basically helps us to use shared mailbox, calendars, files, SharePoints, and etc. Yeah, that's what I told. Add Microsoft 365 groups to enable group access for guest users outside your. You can also use Microsoft if you want. If there are guest users in your account, then you can, instead of creating security groups, you can create Microsoft 365 groups to help you add guest users outside your organization. Next is things to consider when adding group members. In a group, we need to add members, right? So there are three different type of group members also. One is assigned, dynamic user, and a dynamic device. So assigned, what do you mean by assigned? Like how Gautam said, we can assign roles, right? Through our back we can assign roles. Basically that is called assigned. And dynamic user, example is guest user. He's a dynamic. What do you mean by dynamic? for some point of time, for a span. If that person is in our group just for a span of time, then we can use dynamic user and dynamic device also. Same way, if you have devices, there are set of rules also. This person has a task. If that task is done, then he should be removed from the dynamic device. If this person has to do that task, then you'll have to add him to the dynamic device. Simple. Administrative units. We all are studying in, most of y'all are studying. So basically, our universities or our colleges, they have different courses, right? For engineering, you have multiple courses: CS, IS, EC, EEE, and all of that. I am from engineering background, so that's why I'm saying I don't know about the other this one. So every course, every section has an administrative department, right? If if they are in an administrative group, there is an person who assigns roles. There are um, lecturers, like a HOD can be the administrator, and the lecturers are the members of the administrative group. Easy example, I hope so. Basically, the administrator gives permissions to the members in the group. Okay, that's what I said. Create an administrative unit for the engineering department. There can be an IT department. There can be a production department, like how Gautam said, testing, development, and production. Three departments can have three different administrative units, and in those administrative units, you can add groups as well. In those groups, you can have different or unique set of roles assigned to those members in the groups. And yeah, that's what I said here. Add the engineering department IT team to the role along with the scope. Things to consider when working with administrative group. There are management tools basically which the administrator uses, and you can add roles through the portal. And consider the scope of what is the scope of an administrative unit. If we have an IT administrator, so we add him the role of an IT administrator. If we have a system administrator, we've added many roles like reader role, read, write. I think it would be read, write, and execute permissions. Yeah. Let's go to the simulation part. Okay, I have already done few things, but I would do it again. You can search basically users in the first go to create a user. Okay, I will. Here you can see we have create new user and invite an external user. So as I said, uh, they can be guest users. So for guest users, we can use invite external users. Firstly, we'll create a new user here. The name of the user, @ this is my account name, so that is why it is showing up. If you like, basically we can have cloud kaksha. So if you mention here any name, I would take Anchal's name for now. So it would say Anchal at cloudkaksha.com. Okay. There's something called display name also. If you have two different people's, two different members of the same name, you can enter the same with their initials maybe. And the password, auto generate a new password, or you can set a password. Auto generate password, if you give, this is helpful when you create bulk users. There will be auto generated passwords, and you can give the members the permissions to reset the password. Next is properties, the same thing, first name, last name, user type, what type of a user he is, a member user or a guest. Then comes any certifications for the user you want to add, we can add that. What is the job title of the user? Like I said, he can be a system administrator, he can be a IT administrator. There are many different roles, developer, and all of that. Company name, department, which department he's going to work for, his employee ID. Every user, when he joins an organization, there's an employee ID generated. What type of an employee is, contractual or a permanent basis, this date of hire, office location, and all of these details we can fill in, the address, and all of that. Then comes in assignments. Yeah, here you can see add administrative unit. So if this user, for example, let's take, he is this person is a lecturer of a computer science department. So we already have a computer science administrative unit. So we can add this user to that unit, that group or unit. See, there are different what do I say, options. Add administrative unit, add group, which group you want this user to be in, what type of role you want him to have. You can add all of those things. Let's review and create. So we're done with users. So now we know how and what details we need to enter while creating a user. Okay, let's move on to after users, we learned about groups. So we have groups here. So I just did this in the morning. I've already created a group with Cloud Kaksha. So to create group, we need to click on new group. Okay, basically security groups is to add devices to own the security of the user, and Microsoft 365 is to have a collaboration and share mail, share points, and all of those things. We can give a group name. I will just give cloud, give one. Okay. And what does this group do? The description you can give. Then you can add who's the owner of this group. It says no owner selected. So you can add one owner, two owners to the group. Select and add. You can add the number of members who are in this group. There are users. You can add a complete group as well to the group itself. You can add a whole group to a new group. Then we have devices. If you enter devices here, it will reflect. You can add all the three here for now. Then create. It would take some time. Next was what topic? It was groups, users groups. We learned about bulk operations and administrative units. Let's see next how bulk operations are done. So can you see a Cloud Kaksha one that I just created? That's there. You can check the properties. What are the properties? What is the description? What type of group it is? You can see who are the members of the group here. You can add members as well. Here you can see it is something that's called as bulk operations. You have roles and administrators. You can add here administrative roles. There are licenses as well, which currently I do not have any. So if you have any licenses that you want to, imply on particular groups, you can add those licenses, and those licenses will reflect on the members who are included in the group. I hope it's clear, everyone. Then we have bulk operations. how to create bulk users. So as I said, there is a CSV template. Can anybody say what is CSV? uh, yeah. See, these are the values that basically we're supposed to enter, I believe. There is name, display name required, there is a username, initial password, what initial password, block sign, first name, last name, job title, department, what he belongs to, where, what is his location, his address, country, postal code, office, and all of that, phone number. So all of these you enter, you can enter multiple users and create the bulk file. You can upload. Once you download it, the steps are edit the CSV file and select the file and upload it. Okay. Once you have done, you can select the file, upload it, and submit. It will create bulk users for you here.